I'm here with wire wrapping expert Barb Switzer. And Barb, these are gorgeous earrings that you have to show us today. Love them.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
They're really, really simple to make. All you need is some chain, a little bit of wire, and some jump rings and head pins, and you can go to town. And feel free to use any shape and any size of bead on the bottom of the chain, so you're not limited to the rounds.
So you can use any beads you like, and I see you chose some pretty pink shades here today.
Pink, hot pink.
Fun. Okay, so how do we get started?
Okay, so we're gonna cut a piece of wire, 18 gauge, to 1 3/4 inches, and mark it in the middle. And we're going to take chain nose pliers, and if you want your bend to come out on your mark at the middle, you want to place your plier a little bit away from the mark. So I'm moving it to the right. I'm going to bend. You see my mark is centered perfectly. And then I'm going to use some round nose pliers, and I'm going to make a simple round loop at the end. Okay. No wire sticking out. I'm going to roll.
Roll your loop around.
Roll your loop around. Same thing on the opposite side.
Okay, so you do put quite a bit of tension on it when you're rolling the loop.
Yeah, because it's 18 gauge and it's a short piece, it's a little bit stiff. So you're really gonna have to turn that plier, and you wanna make sure you're using the plier to do the work and not trying to bend the wire around the plier with your other hand. Yeah. Work with your dominant hand and use the plier as a tool, not a holding tool.
Perfect.
As a bending tool.
Makes sense.
All right, so I'm gonna shape that a little bit better.
Okay.
All right, so that's my finished piece.
So that's the hanger.
That's the hanger, that's the central part of the earring. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm gonna add 5 links of chain to each one of these loops.
All right.
And then I'm gonna add a jump ring to this, and the easiest way to do this is to have gravity be your friend. Work with gravity, not against gravity. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick the jump ring up and hold it in my plier, and I'm going to let the chain hang down.
Is that so that you get your chain directionally facing the same way?
Yes, so that way your loops will sit so you're either looking at the side or looking through the center.
All right, and then you feed your jump ring through, and it looks like a 6mm ring.
It is a 6mm ring, and we're going to run it through both of these end pieces and the end loops of wire. And you always want to pull your tension up when you're done and make sure that your chain is not twisted. And then before you close that, save yourself the trouble and go ahead and put your earring wire right in there.
Okay.
Take your second pair of pliers and go ahead and close that jump ring up. The other nice thing about that is then you have a hook to hang onto the whole piece.
Great.
So it's convenient to handle.
Definitely.
And I'm going to repeat that operation on the bottom with the exception of using 7 links of chain on the bottom so that it's a little bit longer than it is on the top.
Okay.
So once I've done that, it's really nice to be able to add some weight to the piece right away. And what we're going to do here is I normally prep all of my dangle pieces ahead of time. So I don't fully wrap them. I simply make a 90-degree bend, and then I come in with my round nose, and I form a nice round loop, and then it's all ready to go onto your piece, but it's not actually fully wrapped.
And the reason you do that is to save time? It
saves time, and it's a lot more efficient. If you have to set down all your tools and individually prepare each one of these wraps, it's kind of, then it's tedious. If you do it all at once,
right.
It's sort of a uniform operation.
It's the assembly line method.
It really is. It's production style. So because you're making 10 of the 4mm, 8 of the 6, 2 each of the 8 plus a 6, and then 2 of just an 8mm bead.
Okay.
So it's a lot of pieces.
It's a lot of prep. And of course, we'll have the instructions for this on our website.
Very detailed instructions on the website.
Okay.
So when you start adding these, you're gonna, the one you want to add to is the one on the bottom, because you can see it makes the whole piece hang straight, and it's a little bit easier to manage with that weight on the bottom. And so all I'm going to do to finish that is just take that,
do your wrap,
and do my quick wrap around the bottom. Trim that on end off.
Yeah. When you're designing a piece like this, do you usually hang them on an earring stand, you know, just to check the drape, or do you just hold it up, kind of visual?
I actually use the teacup that's always sitting on my at my work table.
There you go.
Yeah, so I just hang it over the edge of the teacup while I'm working on it, and that way you don't lose it on the tray, and that way everything stays all neat and tidy.
Yeah, and you can check the drape. Okay, so what's next?
So the next thing you're gonna do is you're actually gonna add your other two links in the middle, right? The one in the center and the one at the bottom. And then we're gonna start adding all these other prepared links to the chain. And you wanna make sure as you do this, that when you add the link, that it hangs to the outside of your chain.
Okay, so that's where the direction of the chain comes in. It's very important that you did that right
Right,
at the beginning.
that you don't have any twists and that everything is attached correctly, because then it's much easier to see. And the way to think of it is that you're adding a dangle to each one of the links that you're looking directly through. If you can see right through that link, that's the one you're going to put your dangle on. And that's going to be 2, 4, and 6.
Okay, well, let's see you wrap that one.
Okay.
Everybody has a different method for wrapped loops, I think.
It's very true. Like mine is a little bit different. I'm a little bit production and precision oriented in terms of the way I prep them in the first place.
And you trim the extra really close?
Yeah, and you know, you can go down and wrap them all on and then trim the ends later, but it gets to be a tangly mess if you leave all those ends on there. So it's much easier if you just go ahead and add each one and individually and just trim that end off.
It looks great. Well, let's take a look at the finished one again so we can see it's filled in with those 4 millimeters. Those are so pretty. And this is a really simple project and a great way to use wire wrapping.
It is, and it doesn't require a lot of materials. So
I love it. Thanks so much, Barb.
You're welcome.